Hello, it's day July 10th, day 29. Um, and today's been an interesting day. Started, I think, over the last couple days, and maybe I said this yesterday, I was feeling a little bit lost. So I was kind of like moving through a bunch of like kind of confusing um, emotions. It's like feeling like, I don't know if low is the right way to say it, but kind of like doubt, like, oh, self doubt creeping up again. I think that's part of the process because like not lingering there is helpful. What I've also found is like talking to people is helpful, like talking to others. Um, because like if I'm sitting here just like in my own head, then that's the only place I am. And then it's like very easy to just kind of like circle the drain and then not actually like go through with anything. So like I've been talking to like Christian and then also with Adrian about this program and kind of like just expressing some of the things that where I'm stuck on. And what's been helpful is actually that outside perspective of like, hey, like you're good at this, or you've said this, or do this, like get more specific with your messaging and all of that. Because like I guess one of the things that's like challenging is when you're inside a problem, you understand the problem kind of very intimately from your specific perspective. And because you're like only looking at this one thing from this one perspective, it's easy to um, like if you think of like, let's say like you're looking out a window, like that's all you'll ever see. Actually, I don't know why, but this makes me think of that movie. I think it was North by Northwest by Alfred Hitchcock, where it's like, shot out of one perspective, and it's like you can only see certain things. So that's kind of what it's like when I'm sitting and oh, my life is not a horror show. And it's kind of what it's like uh, when sitting there with my own thoughts, um, because it's like, what is happening? And you can only see so much from one perspective, but like because we live in like a three-dimensional world, there's other perspectives like from other people all around. And so then, especially like sitting inside my own perspective, like I'm sitting here and I'm like everything that I want to put out into the world has been sitting inside here for so long. And sometimes it's like, okay, like I'll say it out and then I think it makes sense. But then that outside feedback of like when I'm talking to other people or sharing things or helping people through different things, whether it's friends, clients, family, um, the feedback kind of comes back and it's not always immediate. And then even if it is, um, for me, I guess I'm driven to do what I feel is right in the moment or what feels most natural, I suppose. And it's just easy to kind of gloss over like the impact that is happening, that it's having for other people. And in some ways that's not fair to others and it's not fair to myself, although life's not fair. So then it's like choosing how I engage with that information, I guess it becomes important, like how I can leverage or and like listen to the perspectives outside so that they kind of feedback so that I can keep moving forward, rather than just being stuck in like this one position, like I'm here and like there's nowhere else that I can go, like I'm so stuck right now. Um so that was helpful. And some of the like, I guess a couple of things that have come up in both of my conversations is like I need to get more concrete about things. I know that I can very easily go like up into the clouds, like sky high, like blue sky. Imagine like the the best, most beautiful outcome, and then I can also get into the weeds, and that's like a really interesting place to be because it's like I'm so high up looking at the big picture, and then so low down, looking or like so into things, looking at like the specific nitty gritty, that like whole middle kind of like layer of existence. Sometimes it's easy for me to miss until I'm back into like a conversation or talking with somebody else. And maybe that's like just the act of saying things out or talking things out. Like even like this kind of format has been really useful for me to like just put a message out there so that I can hear it, so that other people can hear it. if like people are even listening. Like, does anybody want to listen to this? I would be so surprised, and I would be so grateful and appreciative if there was someone that actually like was listening through all the way, all of my like rambly kind of like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing, and like all of that stuff. That would be really cool. But I don't have expectations of that. Like, even I'm not doing that for myself. Although I will, because I have found that it's helpful and useful to kind of like hear back kind of the places that I've been. And I think one of the things that I was noticing was like that rhythm or that cycle of like the same thing, like the same kind of messaging and themes that are coming up. And that's probably a good indicator of like do something different. So like I'm kind of in that space right now of like figuring out what that something different is. And one of those things is doing something concrete. So I think Adrian had a really good insight of like look at the people that you helped and think about what they say to you and the things that they say to you, and like how that can be like helpful for like sorry how I can use that to kind of like share out the impact of things that I can do for like how can I help you, like why am I here talking into this thing and like why like why me, right? um and sometimes I don't even know how to like share the feedback that I've gotten, because like some of the direct feedback that I've received has been like, like after a human design reading, like this is so insightful. I've never seen myself in this particular light. Like I've felt these things, but the outside voices have always said to do something different. So then I don't have never heard of a way of like looking at the qualities and the things that I bring to the table in this light. It's kind of like feeling seen for the first time. Maybe not the first time, but I don't know. The other thing is like that I hear often is like kind of I have a calming presence, like groundedness, I guess, and that I'm a good listener. I'm saying all of these things for my own benefit. So, like a good listener, which is also really nice. And like, how do I like say stuff like that like out into space, right? Like, hey, like come work with me because I'm a good listener. Like that's kind of like a generic thing, right? um it also makes me think of like job interviews, and that's a great kind of frame for Adrian to bring up, because it's like I've been through a number of job interviews. I actually like interviewed what, like I think I went through 16 interviews before I got my own store, when I was like in that world. And it was like, oh, like so many interviews. I can remember the first time that I interviewed, I was probably like, didn't do that great. I created a presentation, and that, like that first level interview went kind of well. And then like for the thing that I was applying for, I had like, there was a second interview. And I remember that second interview I was really unprepared for. It was kind of like, I had interviewed with like that first level of manager before, and that's kind of like a closer step for me. But then when I started interviewing with like the like VPs and executives, it was like I didn't realize how unprepared I was um, for that space, um, because it was like, uh, I don't know. Maybe this is a thing with just like senior leadership in general, but like maybe it's just like all business. So I was nervous in that first interview, and I kind of like made a joke, right? Like tell me about yourself, and I'm like, hey, I'm a pharmacist. It's like duh, like everybody that's going to be sitting at this table is going to be a pharmacist. So that's kind of like a really silly thing to say, and it was also a really valuable learning experience to like think about like how I could like pause for a moment and like think about how to present myself. And that's probably what's happening here in real time of like, I'm like looking to present myself in some meaningful way to an audience. And it's like, how do I show up? Because like on a day to day, like what I find really fun and engaging and easy is actually just like talking to people, seeing what their problems are, and then like offering a different solution, offering a different insight or a different perspective on things. And then not in a way of like, hey, like this is what you should do, but helping others get to that perspective themselves, or finding out the things that they're saying without saying it directly, I guess. Because I think what happens is we're always saying exactly like what's happening within our heads, even if like we pause and edit, like the words that we choose, especially if you're not thinking about it, the words that just come out are so true to who you are and the struggles that you're having, um, that it's really interesting to explore, right? um, if only I could talk to myself like that. um, and I don't. Do I do that? Having a moment here. But like being able to talk with others and reflect things back, it's like really interesting. I think it's like in this way, it's like at least I'm able to say things out, and sometimes like things come out. Like yesterday, I feel like I said something that I really liked, and then it just like left my mind. It just kind of like comes out, like downloads through comes in through the top and then out through my mouth. Um, but that's kind of like a trust in the filter and in the words and in like the things that'll come out. So then when I'm staring at like a blank page or like thinking about talking to a non-specific audience, I think that I'm overthinking it in that like I'm trying to make a message for everyone. And really this there's no way that there's no way that there's like mm, something for everyone in what I do. Because if there was, I would probably have a very unpeaceful life. Like then it's like, man, I gotta like help everybody, right? Um, so it's it's that duality of like I want to help everyone and also like realizing that I can't help everyone because it's not like literally my thing, my lot, right? Like the way that I can help a larger number of people is to help the people that come to me so that they can show up in ways that are positive for the people around them. That's the one of the drivers of like why I looked to switch up where my career was headed, because I wanted to make a bigger impact. I wanted to have a larger impact, and not just be able to help the people that were in my local community, but then to start spreading that out through different means. And to me, that meant working with more pharmacists and more pharmacy students to teach them and to show them a different way of approaching their work, because like really the profession is in like a spot of like needing constant change and evolution. I think a lot of industries are like that right now. So I've seen like a spread of that, like at the ground level, but then also like as pharmacists, like we are all like as that healthcare professional that's most responsible, um, we have to be like leaders in our own right. Like it's not a separate thing, and it's very difficult when like somebody that's maybe in a position where others can look to them for leadership and then them feeling like they're just an employee. So that's kind of I think like getting to a point where we can make personal choices about how we step out and how we impact others becomes really important. So like helping other people come to that realization is something that I would love to have a larger part in. I love the idea of like looking out. I think like what did I write? I wrote something down and I can't remember, but something to the effect of like I want to I want to help people like step into their brilliance, like that I can see. Like I can see how brilliant you are, every single one of you. Um, the strengths, the uniqueness, that like thing that only you can bring. Like I find that like I see that in so many people. It's like everybody's so wonderful. Everybody is so wonderful, and you could do so many things. Um, Not that the point of living is to do things, but like whatever your goals are, when they're aligned with you, then they'll just naturally happen. So I'm kind of in this place of like taking that big picture thing. So like I guess if I actually now like it's coming into a little bit more clarity of like if I'm going like approaching this business thing from also like the top level of like what's the biggest kind of like most aspirational inspirational like level, like I can live there nice. And then also like that nitty gritty of like, oh, like I need to have my emails and have like the system, and like one of the things is like I can see the email and like all the systems around the business haven't come together for me. Like um, I'm not actively building those out, and there's a little bit of a pause on it. So like part of that, like, I'm like stuck, and that's where I asked for some help. So that's coming together. So now I'm like focusing on this middle part, right? Like the meat and potatoes of the thing. I got two slices of bread. Now I got to like fill it with fixings that will make it delicious, so that people will want to eat the sandwich that I'm creating. So Christian said something really that landed nice, which was like, I have to do what feels safe for me. And while like I would love to be able to like sell a huge, like a high ticket transformational program, um, I guess because I haven't done that yet, and like I haven't even like necessarily like had regular sales of like what I'm of like anything. It's like if people ask me what am I doing, it's like the generic like I'm creating a coaching program, I'm creating a coaching container or whatever like that is. And I need to get more specific and make it more concrete. So over the next while, like some of the things that I'm working on and working through is actually like coming closer to that message. Um, I have this like broad level idea, and yeah, like just kind of bringing it back down to earth a little bit, like grounding it and kind of like living in this middle space is kind of where I'm going right now. Um, that's all that's coming to me today. But it's just another day in the process. It's kind of like keep going, keep building, um, keep having conversations. So I think the next thing that I would love to do is actually start having more conversations and sharing more of this out with people, um, and just like starting to do some of the work, right? Like using some of those principles to do work with people and collect more feedback and like that whole thing. I've been kind of like paused on that for a little bit. I think just I didn't see where it fit in to my day to day, to my schedule. And now that I've gotten some space freed up, I need to make it a priority. So that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. So the saga continues. We keep on marching forward.